enjoy the ride. At least I'm enjoying the ride. Yeah!
And now more Operation Freedom with your host, Dr. Dave Janda, on Southeast Michigan's conservative powerhouse, Wham Talk 1600. Call Dave now at 822-1600. That's 734-822-1600.
Welcome back to Operation Freedom, folks. I'm Dr. Dave Janda, broadcasting from our Freedom Bunker here at Wham Talk 1600. We're here every Sunday for you from 2 to 5 Eastern. We're also available 24/7 on our Operation Freedom YouTube channel. Also available 24/7 at davejanda.com, our great platform. We have a tremendous amount of free information we upload every week. We also have our premium service subscription where you get extra shows, our WTF show, Insider Insight show, Department of Advanced Research show. We also have our contributing editor section, our healthcare policy briefing section, all available 30 cents a day. Sign up for a month, $9 a month. I assure you it's information you're not ever going to get from the bought-off lamestream fake media. The kind of theme of today's show is that the smoke and mirrors that the government, that the globalist syndicate puts in front of you 24/7, and how you're propagandized, manipulated every day, every hour, every minute, every second. We just spoke with Mike Ingmeyer, whose nephew, Sean Smith, was one of the 4 American hero victims in Benghazi, and how that the government covered up what really happened in that preventable event on September 11th, 2012. My next guest is one of the most analytical individuals I know in the financial world. She goes by the name of TraderStef. Now, that's a name de plume. And the reason is because the information she presents puts her in the crosshairs with a syndicate that is intent on continuing to manipulate you and your ideas, ultimately lead to actions that will only benefit the globalist syndicate and not you or your family. A little background on Steph. Beginning in 1996, TraderStef initiated a career spanning 14 years within the New York City investment banking industry. She acquired a diverse set and a skill set, if you will, in human resourcing, technology and communications, training, education and development, business analysis, and global risk. She began investing in precious metals in 1999 while following market trends post-dot-com bubble and after 9/11, 2001. Steph left the banking industry in 2009 after 5 years in global risk management at one of the large firms on Wall Street, that being Citigroup. Steph developed and has hosted a live precious metals hour since then, a webinar, if you will, specializing in gold, silver, and the mining equities, combining with her activities with research of industry fundamentals, financial markets, global news events, geopolitics, and monetary policy, otherwise known as fusion analysis. It's my honor to have back with us TraderStef. She is a regular on a phenomenal website, crushthestreet.com. And actually, she just initiated her own site. Steph, welcome back to Operation Freedom.
Hey, Dr. Janda, how are you today?
I'm great, Steph. Now, your website, where can they find you? TraderStef.wordpress.com is my personal site. You can get a link directly to that at my Twitter feed, which is at TraderStef, TraderStef, like Francis. So let's delve into the fake news as it relates to precious metals and in particularly gold, Steph, because you are battling this 24/7.
Oh, it's fun.
So take all of us to school, Steph.
Right.
because you're one of the people that will not pull punches and lays it on the line, as opposed to a lot of this misinformation we get out of what I call CNBS or Reuters or Bloomberg or Fox Business News. Educate us.
Let's start with fake news number one. The stock markets have outperformed gold. That's not true. I provided you with some charts before we came on today, so you can actually verify what I'm saying. Yes, since December of, what are we looking at? Since 1999 up until December of last year, gold performed at 345% gain.
Mm-hmm.
The S&P did just over 70%. Now, considering the move that we've seen in the stock markets, people think, wow, are you kidding? Is that true? Because most folks really are too busy with life and working, doing whatever it is they do. They're not looking at charts. They're not actually looking at data. And they rely on one-liner headlines from the major news feeds or some of the newsletters or whatever is being published out there. So, yeah, gold has been a great investment, particularly since the year 2000.
Well, just this week, Steph, and this goes to exactly what you're saying. Fox Business News, Stuart Varney. The market is, let's say, is up 100, and he will flash a slide up and goes, well, the market's up 100, but gold is only up $5. Okay. Yeah. Now, when the market is down 200 and gold is up $15, guess what? There's no slide.
Yeah, no kidding.
It goes to exactly what you're saying, and the chart is unequivocal. Unequivocal, Steph. 70.62% gain in the S&P 500 since 1999 till December of 2018, and the price of gold per ounce in U.S. dollars, no less. Correct?
Right.
Okay.
But,
so in other currencies, it's actually even greater. Correct?
Yes, most likely, but they are right now. Most of 20-some foreign currencies are making all-time highs in gold as we speak.
And in U.S. dollars, in that same time frame where the S&P was up 70.62%, gold is up 345.39%.
Yeah. So, see, it brings us to point number two. Your time frame and reason for getting involved and investing in something, which I don't consider gold in it as an investment necessarily. It's more like an insurance policy. Okay, but your time frame is really important. Are you a buyer who's looking for the low risk, high reward dips where you want to accumulate over a very long period of time? Or are you the trader that's in and out based on what's going on in the market? So there's a lot of different ways to look at this. But one of the underlying fake news items, which isn't 100% fake, it's partially true, it's the manipulation of the markets. Now, look, all the markets are manipulated at some level somewhere along the line, whether it be gold or whether it be equities, whether it be bonds, whether it be currencies. It's all a mess, and those reasons are varied. But the idea that there's someone sitting there doing this intentionally day in and day out and responsible for the moves that are going up and down constantly is just nonsense. But most recently, I came across a chart on my Twitter feed, and it was showing gold, and it was discussing the golden cross, which has nothing to do with gold. But generally, when you're looking at technical analysis, you've got moving averages. Mm-hmm. And there's different kinds of moving averages. There are many to choose from. But a golden cross is when the 50 crosses back over the 200. And that is generally a bullish signal in the market.
That means gold is going higher.
Yes, but once again, you have to keep your time frames in mind of what your goals are and when you're actually going in, getting out, going in. So we could be looking at, monthly charts, weekly charts, daily charts, 1-minute charts, plus with the different types of moving averages, and then the overall time frame that you're taking into consideration. You can go in and cherry pick a short time frame with a specific moving average on a specific time frame chart like a daily, and you can say, oh, look, well, when the golden cross happens, that's a bull trap, and that means that just tells the guy behind the curtain to come in, and they're going to manipulate the market and take your money. I'm like, what? No, that's actually not the way it works. So they're basically amateurs and armchair analysts. Now, I give them credit. They're trying to learn the system. But when you're putting information out there that's actually getting out into the community, you're affecting the mindset of the community. That's just another form of manipulation because that is not what's going on. So when you take moving averages, they can be very useful and they're very insightful when they're applied correctly. But when they're not used correctly or improperly, they're misinterpreted. And by their very nature, they're lagging indicators. And you have to take into consideration the time frames, as I said. So I could take that same chart, I'll take that daily chart, and I have a chart that I made many, many years ago because the program I have can't, zoom in on those dailies for that time frame. But from January 2009 until August of 2011, we had a simple moving average golden cross on gold, which ran for 2.5 years, which was the secular bull market of gold. Now, there's different kinds of bull markets. Right now, we are in a primary bull since December 2015 when we hit the most recent low. A primary is considered the accumulation phase. That's after the bear, then everyone sees we hit our low, and for whatever reasons, it's going up over a long time period. That's your primary bull. Once you take out a very important technical level or take out the previous all-time high, you're back in the secular bull market seat. So when we look at that daily from 2009 to 2011, it's obvious that there was a 2.5-year time frame. And when you look at the chart that was posted on Twitter by someone, they're taking another daily chart, which was from a 2.5-year compressed time frame during the primary bull, during the accumulation. So there was this up and down. The market actually breathes. It just doesn't go straight up. It kind of goes up and it goes down, and it goes up and it goes down. But one very important thing to note about that chart was that since December in 2015, gold has not violated that low. It's continued to put in higher lows, and it keeps bumping up to that 1380 level, which is probably going to break this time around. So when I take a weekly chart and we compare that, it's a completely different story because when you look at those moving averages, they crossed over that golden cross back in 2001. And they stayed solid. They never crossed back over until 2013. Shortly after gold began to have its swoon in price, down to its low in 2013. Now, on that weekly, we've had a golden cross on the weekly chart. And that happened back in 2017. And we have not violated that low yet. And some of the action that I'm seeing in the charts right now is very reminiscent of what I seen in 2000 and 2001. And after the market crash in 2008, when gold broke out of its consolidation, which, as a reminder, I think we covered this once before, but gold actually didn't crash during the financial crash. From beginning to end, it gained $286 per ounce. And there was never a death cross. The golden cross never crossed back over to death. It remained in play that whole time. So, people can cherry pick whatever they want, but it's fake news.
So, Steph, why educate our listeners? You have spelled this out. You have the charts. You have the analysis right here.
Yeah.
Why do we not see this on CNBS, on Fox Business News, because they claim they're looking out for the financial welfare of their listeners? Why is this not front and center on a regular basis with Maria Bartiromo, Stuart Varney, the folks over at CNBS?
I don't know. Look what they did to Peter Schiff.
Yeah.
I remember back in the crisis how everyone laughed at him for a year and a half. I mean, it wasn't like he was not the only analyst out there calling all the red flags that were going on. And they laughed. They literally laughed at him. And then when it happened, they were embarrassed. And now they're doing it again, not as bad as they were back then, but they're still not paying attention.
So let's go to the next point about technical analysis, right?
Right. I hear a lot, some people say, well, since all the markets are manipulated, technical analysis doesn't matter.
And define technical analysis for our listeners who might not be familiar with that term.
It's when you're looking at a chart, the price chart, of a particular asset that you're trading or investing in. And you can apply a lot of chart patterns and different types of studies that are based in math that help determine where the price is going and what the conditions of the market is. So it's a predictor, and it's also a lagging indicator, but it adds a very important tool to your toolbox to make a decision. And accuracy-wise, when it's done properly, it's about 70%. And you just can't do without it. So I hear all the time that, well, if the market's manipulated, technical analysis doesn't matter. Excuse me, let me get a drink. You could throw charts 10 ways to Sunday to show them otherwise, and they'll still keep saying it. It's just really odd. I don't understand. So there's these few lost souls out there. They're beholden to a religion that, there's somebody behind the curtain manipulating this market, and whether it went up $10 or down $10, oh my God, someone's coming in and manipulating the market. Dr. Janda, I've sent you charts privately when I see that I suspect that something may be happening.
Right.
Right. So you actually see when there's a possibility. Now, those could be spoofing events. That's not necessarily somebody behind the curtain. But what I'm trying to say is, yes, markets are manipulated on some level, but to the degree that you hear out there is just nonsense. That's not going on. So let's take a look at nature, Mother Nature. One of my favorite pastimes is watching hurricanes form in the summertime, because out of chaos creates this circular pattern that you can see from above the earth. It's actually the Fibonacci math. And when you look at a galaxy, it looks just like that.
It does.
So there's certain rules in the universe when it comes down to math that things are just always going to go according to math. And as a matter of fact, it was interesting. This morning I was listening to an interview that was done with Jim Sinclair by Greg Hunter over at USA Watchdog.
Yep.
And here's Jim. He says, quote, "You cannot plan for what Mother Nature has in store," unquote. Perfect.
It is perfect.
Yeah. And then here's this one I love is Greenspan. The guy printed up so much money. He was the Fed chair from 1987 until 2006. But you hear all the time, well, gold's a pet rock. It's a barbaric relic. Nobody wants it. The central banks aren't interested. They were selling all their gold. Well, here's what Alan Greenspan said in middle of 2018. Quote, "Well, what's interesting? Gold is still significant. I ask myself, if it's a relic with the long history that it has, why is there $1 trillion held by gold by the world's central banks, plus the IMF and all other financial institutions, if it's worthless and meaningless? Why is everybody still holding it?"
Well, and just this weekend, Zero Hedge. Central banks are on the biggest gold buying spree in a half century. Central banks bought more bullion last year than any time since 1971, when the U.S. ended the gold standard.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a little error in the percentage of what they're holding. So 2018 broke a record, and it's up around 33,000 tons. It's not 12%. It's actually about 17% of all the gold ever mined. And as of last year, that was around 190,000 tons. So when you do that visually, there's this little square block about the size, what do they call that little game that they twist around with all the colors on it? Rubik's Cube.
Rubik's Cube, right.
It's like a very tiny Rubik's Cube sitting in front of the huge pyramid. When you kind of visualize, there's really not much gold out there. So when someone comes along like Sam Zell on Bloomberg,
who's a big real estate tycoon, right?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm buying gold for the first time in my life because of supply issues. Yes, there are supply issues, and that's why we're hearing more about the big, giant, major gold miners who are merging, because when we had the downwind in the price of gold after 2013, they started high-grading their underground reserves. And what that means is they went after their highest-grade dirt that had the most gold in it first to balance out their balance sheets so that they didn't go out of business. So now what they've done, they've taken supply that was supposed to be there in the future and brought it forward. Now supply is running low. There haven't been any major discoveries for over a decade. They're starting to buy up all the little miners that already got an operation going, that have good reserves, to keep themselves in business. So there's a lot of moving parts with regard to the supply of gold. So Sam Zell is a smart guy, and what he said is true. Now, if we look South Africa, most people still think, well, that's where all the gold is mined. No. They used to be number one back in the 1970s. They're now down to number 11 on the list. You know who's number one on the list? China. And they don't export any of it.
No, they keep it all to themselves, don't they?
That's right.
Well, and just look what's happening in Venezuela right now. There's this taffy pull over their 20 tons of gold, right? I mean, Venezuela tried to get its gold back from Bank of England. If it's a barbarous relic and nobody wants it, why did the Bank of England hold back sending their 12 tons? Now there's this 20 tons supposedly sitting at an airport in Venezuela that people were concerned were going to go to, I don't know, Abu Dhabi, go to Russia, whatever, right? There's this huge taffy pull about, whoa, what's happening with the gold?
Yeah, there was another fake news item because there was all this chit-chat out there about, the Bank of England doesn't have the gold, and that's why they're not. No, that had nothing to do with it. The governments were talking behind the scenes about what was going on in Venezuela, and they were like, they're going to want some of their gold back. Don't give it to them.
Right.
That it was really that simple. There's always a simple answer to a complicated story, more often than not.
So, to those people, Steph, who have taken the opportunity in the past to and continue to invest in and use as an insurance policy vehicle gold and silver, and they go to family events, and the crazy uncle in the corner gives them grief about why they didn't invest in Facebook or Netflix like he did and make out like banshees like he has done, yet they invest in this barbaric relics of gold and silver. What do you tell them? Because a lot of those folks are frustrated.
Go pick up Jim Rickards' book, The New Case for Gold. That he's got several books that he published, but that book was published in April 2016. Go buy it and read it. It's really that simple. And most recently, just so everyone knows, Crush the Street just came out with a new report. If you go to crushthestreet.com / and add the word crash, it's about what's in store for us in regards to the stock markets.
Okay, so let's run that by again. Go to www.crushthestreet.com.
Right, and then add a / and the word crash.
Got it. And that's a report about where we stand with our financial system, and in particular as it relates to precious metals?
Precious metals definitely plays a part in that report. It's more about what happened in the last crisis and what the central banks did and what the next crisis may have in store. But that's also discussed in Jim Rickards' book, The New Case for Gold.
This is a question that I know you're going to think is a very simple question, but I believe it serves a purpose. Steph, if I had the opportunity to give you $10,000 in cash, U.S. currency, or $10,000 in gold, or $10,000 in silver, which would you choose?
Can I like get some chocolate and some vanilla, or does it have to be all one flavor?
Well, let's first do chocolate and vanilla, and then let's do one flavor.
I do 50% gold, 50% silver. And then I would take probably all silver if I had to just choose one at this particular point in time.
Why would you choose if you had just to choose one, why would you choose all silver? Because
silver has approximately 50% of silver is for industrial use. And, solar panels, cell phones, everything you can think of, it's used. So there's much less of a supply available for silver, actually, and there's a silver deficit brewing. And the percentage increase as compared to gold is higher. So right now, I would be interested in silver, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be interested in gold, too.
CrushTheStreet.com, TraderStef / window WordPress.com, correct?
That's it. Thank you, Dr. Janda. You have a good day.
Steph, I'd like to thank you for everything you have done, are doing, and will do. You're a financial resource not like no other. Folks, you're listening to Operation Freedom. Dr. Dave Janda broadcasting from our Freedom Bunker here at Wham Talk 1600.